Alright, so I've had the Positive Grid Spark Go here for a few months, and I just want to do an update video on how I'm liking it and how I'm using it. And I'm actually using it a lot more than I thought I would. So I do have an initial review on this model if you want to check the description. You can see my thoughts on when I first got it. So there was a couple issues I had with it initially. First one was it was very difficult to pair with my phone. I haven't had that issue. After about a month of using it, it just started to pair seamlessly to everything I was using it with. I'm not sure if they did an update on the firmware or an update in the software, but it seems to work really well when connecting now. And the other issue I had about it was the sound of the speaker. It was very quiet. It didn't sound loud enough for a lot of applications. However, with a little bit of internal tweaking, you can kind of adjust the EQ and adjust your patches. So yeah, there's ways around that to make it sound a little bit better. So I'll go through that in this video and some of my favorite uses for this amplifier. And I'm using it mostly for practice, and there's a lot of cool, interesting ways that you can use it for practice that I'll get into here. So the battery life has been really great. I've only charged it a few times since I've gotten it, and the battery seems to last for a very long time. I haven't had it run out while I'm using it. Now I do plug it in pretty often, but I mean, there's some sessions that I use it for hours at a time. Like we took this out camping, and there was an acoustic guitar player, and I brought my electric guitar, and I was just kind of soloing over what he was doing, and we were doing that all night long, and the battery did not run out at all. And I think I even used it the rest of the weekend without any issues. So yeah, it's got a very good battery life. I've noticed no degradation yet. Again, I've had it for about 4 or 5 months. And I just want to show how well it's connecting now. So there, power is on. You can see the green light. And if I take my phone and go to my Spark app, and let's say connect, it's searching. Alright, so yeah, when I was recording that, it didn't connect. It failed to connect. I haven't had any issues with it lately. It's usually no problem, but occasionally when I do have an issue, all I have to do is reset my phone, and then it usually works right away. So I just have reset my phone, and let's see if it works. And there we go. So yeah, typically I don't run into this issue, but when I do, it's been very few and far between. I just reset my phone and then it works immediately. So yeah, my favorite part about this amp is probably the software, because you've got access to the tone cloud, so there's a bunch of different amp models and pedal models and cabinet models in here, so you can kind of pick and choose and make whatever tones you want with the available patches and software. But there's also a cloud function where everybody online is making these same patches, and they're uploading their favorites, and people are voting on them, and you can download any single one. So there's like 50,000 different sounds. So the best part is just plugging your guitar and just going through all the different sounds and just finding your favorites, and then you can save them directly on the hardware itself without having to use the app. And we've got 4 different patches right here. So that's my favorite thing to do, is just download my favorites, leave them on the app. That way when I practice, I don't even need this app at all. I can just use the patches that are already stored on the amplifier, or I can turn on the app and find new ones. So that's really cool. There's also a lot of internal stuff in the app. So it's got Smart Jam. So Smart Jam is you play along with music and it automatically puts in bass and drums depending on your music style, and it's kind of uses like AI to adapt it. I don't really use it that much, but when I did use it, it worked pretty cool. You can also record yourself. It's got a built-in tuner, metronome. You can tweak the EQ on your amp. So yeah, there's lots of stuff you can do in the app itself. So pretty cool, and they're constantly updating it and putting in new features. So, but again, my favorite part about it is the tone cloud, where you can find all those different patches and save them to your amp. Another option I really like about this amplifier is you've got two independent volumes on this. So one for music and one for your guitar. So I'm using my favorite patch number 3 on this amp, and then I've got my guitar sound here. And I'm using my wireless system just so there's less cords, and I just find it works really well. I'm just using a cheap wireless system. This is a Donner system. I think it was under $50, but it works good for practicing at home. I just hate having too many cords all around me. I feel claustrophobic, and this kind of cuts down on that. So another great way to use this is for practice. So you can put on any song you want through any streaming service that you use, and then you can jam along in real time to the songs with a patch that you chose or even designed yourself in terms of tone for your guitar. So yeah, that's a really cool practicing tool. And then you can also plug in a set of headphones. I've got these Audio-Technica headphones that I use. So then you're just plugged in on the couch. This thing even has a belt loop, so you can attach it to your pants just to keep it on you a little easier, just to make a cord management a little bit better. And then you can just jam along to any music you want, and then you can adjust the volumes. These two buttons are your music volume, and then you can adjust your guitar volume using this slider here, so clockwise and counterclockwise. So let's just check that out. So yeah, I can jam along to anything I want. And then if I want, I can turn up the music if it's my guitar's a little too loud, or I can turn up my guitar, or I can edit the tone of my guitar to match the song better. So yeah, there's a lot of power there, especially for practicing new songs for your band or just trying to get better. You can even find versions of songs that don't have the guitar in it, so you can actually just play and not hear the original song or guitar in the song. You can put your own in. So yeah, the possibilities are kind of endless that way, so that's kind of cool. And then to take it a step farther, another thing I really like to do when I'm practicing on the couch is I'll be set up with my wireless system. I'll have a guitar patch that I like. I'll have my headphones plugged in. I'll be playing the music and along with my guitar, and then you can also bring up the tab while you're doing all this. So now you're actually learning the tab of the guitar or the chord chart or the chords in the lyrics, and then you can play along in real time to the song with your guitar wirelessly and with headphones on. So yeah, it's great, especially if my wife's watching a show or something I don't really want to watch. I can plug in and be totally quiet with my electric and actually have a really good learning session, learning new songs with official tabs and or a really good sounding guitar. And I can really isolate the different parts. I can make the music louder, I can make the guitar louder, I can change how the guitar sounds. So yeah, it's a really, really powerful learning tool, I find. I think that's been my favorite use for it. So, for example, here's Frosty the Snowman, and here's chords and lyrics. I'm using Frosty because it's a public domain song.
Frosty the Snowman was a jolly happy soul, with a corn-cob pipe and a button nose, eyes without gold. Frosty the Snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know that he came to life someday.
Anyway, it's a long way from Christmas, but you get the idea. So it's a pretty powerful, learning tool. You can literally play any tab you want and play along with the music and customize your guitar. So I find that's the best way for me to use this, is a really, really nice, compact, and powerful practicing tool. Obviously, you can also use this as just a standalone Bluetooth speaker. It's pretty compact, which is nice. I mean, this literally fits in your pocket. Or any bag that you're using, it can easily slide in there. And it sounds not bad as a Bluetooth speaker. I've definitely used better sounding ones, but this one does the trick. The battery life's great. It seems really rugged too, so like it's fell a bunch of times off of onto the ground, on the concrete, whatever. It's nice and rubber padded, and it seems very, very rugged. I haven't had an issue with anything breaking. This part maybe is a trouble area because it's plastic, and if it fell, I could probably smash that and crack it pretty easy. It's not rubberized at all, so that's probably a trouble issue. I haven't had an issue with it yet, though. You can also use this for recording. If you have a laptop, you can just plug it in USB style and use it as an audio interface for any, recording program you're working. So it's pretty powerful for that too, because again, you can use your patches that you've stored here, that you've downloaded or created yourself. So yeah, it's a pretty cool tool for that as well. I would say this is more for like, beginner recordings. The patches sound really good. Even with some tweaking, you could do an editing. I'm sure they'd be usable, but for high quality recordings, you might want to go a different route. However, I mean, I'm sure you can make this work either way. The real power in this thing is the portability. So that everything I showed you, you can really do anywhere. You could do that on a bus. You could do it out camping, anywhere you go, with an impressive battery life. I think it's around 9 hours. So I mean, if you're going on a long airplane ride, you could even do that. You could bring a travel guitar. I'm sure your neighbor wouldn't like it. You'd need to have maybe a seat between you just to be not super annoying. But yeah, you could practice just like that with tablature and playing music and your guitar with your own custom tones. So that's pretty cool. Another really cool use for this is, so you use your headphone jack, and then you can plug in an 1/8 inch, like that's your standard headphone jack, to a 1/4 inch cable, which is your standard like guitar jack, and you can plug this into an amplifier. So I've been plugging this into my Super Reverb, like my big Fender Super Reverb, and using this as kind of like an infinite pedal. You can scroll on your phone for all those different tones. You can save favorites on the app yourself, or you can download them to the 4 presets on this amplifier, and you can play it through like a tube amp. So this is essentially like having 50,000 pedals in one, because you can create your own sounds, or you can go to the Tone Cloud and download all those thousands of different ones until you find one that sounds really good on your own personalized piece of gear. So that's another really powerful tool for this. It's basically a portable pedal that has 50,000 sounds in it. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my 65 Deluxe Reverb and just show you how that sounds. Alright, so here's the cord I'm using. It's just a standard, stereo headphone cable, 1/8 inch. And then I'm just using an 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter. So you can find these online anywhere. Any electronic store should have them too. And the cord's going to be like $10. The adapter's going to be like $10. So like $20. And then one end goes into the headphone out, and then this end goes into your amplifier, the input. And then that's it. You can actually control the amp with your app on your phone, or use your presets for the patches. Okay, here it is. So the Spark Go is plugged in here with that cord I just mentioned, and I'm using a patch that I like on the Spark here. Let me just double check what that patch is called. I just have this amp. I made this patch. I just called it Solo, so it's kind of a plexi kind of a sound with a couple different pedals. But yeah, you can hear how it sounds here. Then again, I can change what my patches are on the fly. So here's the app here. So I'm gonna try out the Angle Fireball here, which I know is a pretty high gain patch. yeah, after owning this amp for several months, I'm very, very happy with it. It does a lot of surprising things I didn't think it did when I first bought it. Like how I use it for practicing has been a game changer for me. I can practice anywhere. I can practice quietly. I can change the sound of my guitar. I can change the volumes for the instrument and the music. I can play along to tabs. I can play along to YouTube videos, whatever I want. So this has really got me practicing a lot more, just because of its ease of use and how convenient it is. Yeah, it's super compact and rugged, and yeah, it's I honestly use it for practicing almost 3 times a week. So it's become my primary practice method. So also plugging it into an amplifier is really, really cool, because on its own, I think the biggest weakness of this is the sound. The speaker is not very loud. It sounds a little thin at times, but it's great for just practicing. Also, if you use headphones, you get rid of that problem because you're using the speakers and the headphones too, and the patches sound really good. So headphones, when practicing, it really sounds great full. However the patches sound, it sounds great in the headphones. But yeah, you can also plug this into a tube amplifier and then have access to like 50,000 different tones right out of your main amp. So this would be great for gigging if you had a list of all your favorites, or if you're playing a bunch of different music, you can really use this as a ton of different pedals. So yeah, I mean, just for those two things alone, also recording, it's pretty easy to use and convenient. I mean, for the price, this thing is amazing. And I use it a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm just really, really impressed with it. So if you're on the fence about this, I would just go ahead and buy it. It's been a really useful tool for me that I use very often, and it's not very expensive. So anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.